Hello and welcome to our second session on improvisation skills. I hope you enjoyed the first session, and for those who attended the part one of our webinar, you will know that improvisation is very important and it helps us to do three things. It helps us to project confidence, it helps us to exhibit strategic agility, and it also helps us to increase comfort with ambiguity, which we agreed that is one of those things we face all the time in our business environment. Now, before we go to the next slide, which will be a video file for you, I would just like to position those skills we are going to work on today. The fact is that we talked about how important and why is improvisation important in the first part. Today, we are looking to provide you with some communication frameworks to help you to be more effective in improvisation. So let's have a look at this first video file.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
Okay, so this is a video which I wanted to show you for a number of reasons. I mean, I must admit, I cringe every time I see this video, and it's not really to laugh at the lady answering the question, because it's more to demonstrate that if she only knew about a successful and effective communication framework to structure her answer, it would come across in a better way. She really didn't do that well there, did she? So let's have a look at some of those communication frameworks to help us position our answers correctly when we need to. So those communication models I want to talk about is firstly PrEP. PrEP is very easy to remember and very effective, absolutely tried and tested, and you will be pleased to know that most of those models we are suggesting in our webinars are developed based on practice we see in successful executives. So this is all coming out of the field and is definitely tried and tested in a number of business environments. So PrEP comes in this sort of sequence. It's first to position, to show your point of view, to explain what's going on in your mind, to position your perspective. Then to give the reason for that position or perspective. Explain a little bit more, I suppose, give those kind of PEP details about the reasoning behind your position, and then create an example, share an example. And on the end of that, reinstate that position again, because you almost are coming in a logical flow there. So very important around this PrEP communication model is the planning which goes behind it. So when you are, for example, going into a situation, it's nice that you have that ability to prepare for these steps of communication. Now, in improvisation, however, you don't have that benefit. So you need to be able to practice this communication model a number of times so you feel comfortable with the flow. And again, it works really, really well because it feels logical and it appeals to the left brain as we talked about in the first session, you will remember. So again, most of us will really respond to it well. So we position ourselves, we share our perspective, we give the reason for that perspective, we use an example, explanation, maybe a story or analogy, anything like that, and then reinstate our position. Okay, beautiful structure, powerful. Then you can now try and practice that on your specific perspective or situation. So choose a situation and practice within your group. The next communication model I would like to introduce today is something we call CAR, and it's challenge, action, and result. Okay, so again, in this communication model, we are moving at some pace. As you can see, these are both two active communication models. We are moving our conversation into some action here and achieving some result. So if we are sharing a challenge, for example, we then move straight into dealing with what sort of actions do we need to put in place to achieve the desired results here. So we are action oriented, because sometimes, and I don't know whether you would agree with this, but from my experience, often I see people in improv situations getting quite emotional. Would you agree? Yes? It's often that sort of situation where people are stumbled by unwanted questions. Somebody asks them about a challenge they haven't expected. Even think about politics and some of the speeches we hear on the news. When somebody is surprised them with a question, they either don't react or they get really, really flustered by it. In business environment, when that happens, we need to be able to accept the challenge and put some actions together to get to certain result. Sometimes those actions will be to postpone the answer to that question, and that might be from business results, that might be critical to the success of certain projects. Whatever the solution is, we need to be able to confidently deliver that, and CAR is just the vehicle to do it with. Now, again, as with the first one, this is your time to practice. So choose a scenario and see how you would put CAR into practice on that specific scenario. Now, the next advice I would like to give you today on improvisation is, when you are communicating, make sure that your message sticks, that it is compelling, that it's memorable in some way, and that you are creating an impact on those people around you. Now, how we do that is through stories, examples from your working environment, with use of analogies we've already heard from me today, and maybe metaphors. That all makes it more sticky, more understandable, and also makes it resonate with individuals around you. We know that using analogies and using metaphors is making communication vibrant. So here we've got a quote from Chris Cornell from Soundgarden, and he's saying, "I'm looking California and feeling Minnesota." I really like that one. So again, we all know what he means and what he's saying, but he's not necessarily using descriptive words to come up with that. He's giving us an idea through those metaphors. Very powerful. Now, I've got an audio file, NPR, for you to play, and I would like you to listen to it and try and imagine what is this person describing, and see how powerful or not this may be. So here is the file.
From the air, I suppose, it looks like Atlanta. It's all these grids, and it's got 5 different towns, all of which orbit the original sort of settlement of Dadaab. And it's all made of mud and sticks and plastic. So it looks in a way like some kind of giant slum, a bit like the planet of Tatooine in Star Wars.
So people should envision something between Atlanta and Tatooine from Star Wars.
Yeah, that pretty much gets it.
Isn't that fantastic? So you all hopefully have now a real image in your mind, you know, and believe you me, there will be a lot of us, and every single one of us will have completely different image, but hopefully there are some similarities depending on how well that description went. Now, I've got an image here of the actual place the gentleman was describing on that file. So here we go. This is it. Was that close to what you were expecting to see? I would imagine so. Yeah, we can see the grids. We can see that there is a bit of mud and dust and all that. Interesting, isn't it? Again, when we are comparing things to something people can imagine, something between Atlanta and you know, the other place, it's very fantastic how it all comes to play and creates a vision. Now here is another example. Dr. Dan Powell talking about cancer cells. Cancer cells are like the Death Star. They have the power to destroy all of the planets in the universe, but they also have an Achilles heel, a little port that you can shoot your laser into and destroy it. Immune cells are like TIE fighters. They fly around the Death Star trying to shoot their lasers into that little port, and if they're successful, boom. Okay, so again, for somebody who is not of medical background, I can pretty much completely understand what he's trying to say, and that is the important thing here, isn't it? Because sometimes our expertise and technical knowledge can get in the way of connecting with people, because we might be using language or way of explaining things that doesn't necessarily resonate with people. They might not understand our jargon, but when we do decide to use some analogies and metaphors and explain things on those kind of examples which people understand, it creates connection and it creates action, as we mentioned before, doesn't it? I would like to share this quote from Steve Jobs when he talks about iPad at the launch. It's like having the internet in your hands. Again, it's feeling, it's that power you have at your hand when you hold iPad. All that sort of internet power comes to that one device. Again, very powerful way of positioning his product. And if you haven't watched the launch of iPad, I would definitely suggest you Google that and have a look at it, because that whole speech is absolutely awesome. It's so inspiring, and it's full of fantastic techniques of storytelling and influencing through speech. Now, I know that, you know, we use spiking a punch bowl as a metaphor a lot, but really what metaphors do to our communication in improvisation situations is like spiking a punch bowl. We are adding extra ingredients into the mix, which makes our message more powerful. It will make it land with your audience in a much better way, and it will make it stick very much better. It will make it taste better, let's put it that way. Now, practicing improvisation can help you to do a lot of things. It can help you to express yourself comfortably and confidently in front of a group, so you gain that confidence and you gain that courage to talk about topics you haven't prepared about, for example. Blame less and problem solve more. It can tap your creativity and also develop comfort with ambiguity. It also helps you to be in the moment, you know, rather than worrying about what if somebody asks this or what if I'm going to be faced with that. You actually enjoy the moment and you take all opportunities on. You know, you feel like you haven't missed out on anything. I've seen many situations where people walk into a customer's meeting, for example, expecting to be meeting a certain individual, and because of some circumstances, somebody else is attending that meeting, and it can really throw people out of their comfort zone. And what I'm saying is try and embrace it. Take it as an opportunity. Okay, that's fine. Let's deal with that. Let's take it as a chance to create something more powerful, create another relationship, you know, build another connection. It can also help you in certain work situations, and these might be very different to all of us. But some examples here, you know, maybe when you are introduced to somebody very important and you didn't expect that introduction to happen today, when you are asked by your supervisor for a project update or information outside of the usual time scale, or when you are asked to rearrange priorities based on someone else's expectations or priorities. You know, again, people often stick to their routines and they like their comfort zone. It feels secure and familiar, and we prefer that, don't we? You know, and I don't blame any of us, because I feel the same. But sometimes stepping out of that comfort zone and making those brave choices and really utilizing our improvisation skills can help us move us towards our goals more effectively and faster. Now, improvisation is such an important matter that it is on the curriculum of some of the most prestigious business schools around the world. So here is just an example of some business schools in your area which provide these improv modules to study. So this is a real topic. It's a real academic sort of subject to become better. So if you are interested in learning more about improv, I would definitely suggest to check out those institutions and have a look. There are also some more articles I wanted to provide on improv, so feel free in your own time to click on those links and check it out and have a good read, because again, getting a deeper understanding of how effectively deal with situation in that way will help you to be more successful in whatever you choose to do in your life. And of course, let's not forget, if you would like any more information or you are interested to hear more from us, please do not hesitate to get in touch. Here are our contact details. And with that, I would like to close our second session. Thank you so much, and hope to spend some more time with you in the future. Take care. Bye.